Okay, so I can see some of you confirming to me in the chat that can see and hear us. Great, awesome. So we are live today. We have a small delay, sorry for that. Things like that happen when we decided to go live, but it's for a good reason. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Fernanda, I'm from Imagine Foundation. And I'm here today with Fareen Shaikh. Fareen is a career coach at Imagine Foundation and also Director of Talent at ACE Work. But first, let me tell you what you should expect from this webinar today. We will talk about job applications during COVID pandemic. We all know that the job market changed. Some companies freezed their hiring processes. Some companies decided to hire remote workers, remote software engineers. New companies are coming. New companies are hiring more than they did before. So there are a lot of things going on the job market right now. But the thing is, there are job opportunities right there. And we want to help you to achieve such opportunities, to prepare yourself, to go out to the job market, to market yourself, to win the job you dream about, to get an opportunity if this is what you are looking for. So this is why we're here today, okay? We will try our best to answer all your questions. Some of you already sent your questions beforehand. And Fareen will address such questions. But if you didn't send your questions yet, don't worry. You can do so by writing your questions in the chat here in the channel. I can see that some of you are already asking some questions and making some comments in the chat. Great. We will have a moment to try to answer all your questions, okay? Also, this webinar will be recorded, so you can go back to this page and watch the video again. You probably have heard about Imagine, but if you didn't, let me briefly explain what Imagine does. Imagine is an NGO that provides people with career coach to try to help them to face the challenges of job applications in Europe and to achieve job opportunities in Europe if this is what they want, if this is what they desire. So we have a digital bootcamp for coaching people towards job applications. We are not a headhunter or job agency, but we try our best. We work with volunteers, we work with amazing and highly experienced people like Fareen to help you to understand how job applications work in Germany, in Europe. And we try to connect you with companies in order to match their talent needs. If you are interested to know more about Imagine, if you want to apply for our bootcamp, for our program, there is the link through which you can apply. You will find the link in the description of this video, okay? Well, as I talked about Imagine, I work at Imagine. I helped to create Imagine in 2018. And last year, I met Fareen. Fareen decided to join us because she had been working in HR. She worked with all levels of employees, senior employees, managers, all sorts of employees in HR, also with recruitment, also coaching candidates. Now she works as a director of talent at ACE Work, and she coaches remote workers, right? Fareen, you mainly work with remote workers right now, but she has a broad experience in this domain, and she decided to join us. She embraced our mission, and she decided to help our students, to mentor our students. This was how we met, and facing these challenges times right now, Fareen told me, well, why don't you make a webinar or live event where you can give people insights, advice on how they can reach out to job opportunities. Why not? So this is why we're here today. I hope you enjoyed the event. Fareen, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for being here today.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Nanda, so much for having me. I
Great.
hope I'm audible.
So it's your turn. I promise I will not say anything else unless you ask me.
Cool. So I'm just going to share my screen, which will have my presentation. You just confirm if you can do that. Can you see it?
Yes, now we can see you.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So I'm going to get started. I would really want to start off with being thankful that you guys did stay on. We're really sorry for the delay, but I'm not going to take much of your time and I'm going to dive right into it. Besides that, I also, want to spend some time in just being thankful about the fact that we're extremely healthy. I know it's a very difficult time. Most of you guys might be frustrated. And as a job seeker, also probably might be feeling like, there aren't as many jobs like they would be before, which is all true. But, we have actually decided to host this session to be able to help you guys, get better. So I just want you to just spend maybe a second or two to just be grateful and thankful that you're safe and you also are in a position today to apply for a job. I'm just going to start off with talking a little bit about myself. I have more than, I think, 11 to 12 years now in the human resources space. Like you can see, I'm not German, though I live in Berlin. I'm Indian. I'm originally from India, have had most of my experience back there. And I moved to Berlin in 2018, December, and I've been working here since. Um, when I did start off, I started off as a recruiter and then moved on to different functions within the HR space. But I've always found myself always being a part of the recruitment team. So today I work with a platform called AceWork, where we actually cater to remote opportunities. And we connect remote workers to remote opportunities within our network. So I handle talent there, and I also am a resident coach. So I help individuals with their resumes, their LinkedIn profiles, and their interviewing skills. And independent of that, I also kind of help individuals in Berlin who work out of offices and need help on either of my expertise. I kind of do my best there as well. Of course, Nanda mentioned our journey of meeting together, meeting each other, and working together. I'm also a mentor and a mentor coach at the Imagine Me Foundation. So that's a little bit about me. The purpose today is for me to help you stand out in your job search, and this is what you can expect. So I'm going to try and help you understand how you can get started, the right places for you to look for jobs in Germany, a couple of tips on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and interviews. Also, going to help you understand how you can decode a job description and stay top of mind after interviews. I have a little bit of a bonus tip and a giveaway at the end of the session. What I would advise you to do is that if like Nanda said, that we are going to keep this live in the sense that it's recorded, so you can always go back. But a lot of my slides basically also have QR codes to certain sites. So, just in case if you have your mobile far away, you would want to keep that closer to you. All you can do is just open your camera, scan it, and get the link. If it's too far away, that's okay as well. You can probably just look at the recorded session later. So on getting started, and this is independent of actually where you are based out of. I know some of you are from Germany as well. And if you are also an individual looking out for an opportunity in your home country, I would say that please be strategic in your job search. When I mean strategic, I would say that look for companies that you actually are inclined to work towards. Don't be an individual who thinks that you probably might be a fit to a role, so you're going to apply to it. But start with being targeted with 5 or 10 companies. If you are someone who's based in Germany, see which are those 5-10 companies that you actually would be interested. And then if you need to keep adding onto that list. And when I say that, how you can do that better is by understanding their products. Do you feel really passionate about their products? Do you, resonate with their culture? Do you resonate with their mission or vision? And what actually drives you to work for them? So always be strategic. Don't try the spray and pray method where, you feel like you've applied to 100 jobs, but no one's really got back to you. Because there's something missing there. It could be your career documents, or it could be your interviewing skills, and we'll talk about how you can improve that. But I would say start off with having a targeted list. If you're looking to add on more, you can also check Owler.com, which basically gives you the competitor list of companies. So you can keep building onto that list. Of course, you can, as you find a good job and you research more about the company, you can keep adding onto that list, but only apply to roles that you resonate with, like both from a job description standpoint as well as from a company standpoint. If you at this point of time are struggling to even get started on creating that list, what I would advise you to do is, maybe think of companies that you're already a customer with. If you think that they do have offices in Germany, then you can probably think of, looking at for eventually applying to these companies. So, that's how you can build out on a list, but it's extremely important that, you do it the right way. A lot of people have been constantly asking me, where can I look for jobs in Germany? So unfortunately, though coronavirus didn't do well for most people, but it did bring the whole recruitment community together. So these are QR codes of 2 links, and I will be sharing a lot of QR codes, like I said, through my presentation. The first is by a company called Candor. And it has a list of, which companies are hiring, what companies have actually gone on a freeze. And the second sheet that you can see on your right is basically of all the Berlin recruiters who are talking about open positions within Germany, or rather within Berlin at this point of time. So you will see a mix of, some technical roles, some non-technical roles, but I think it's a good way for you to get started if you want to get an idea of what kind of companies are hiring, especially in Berlin. These are some of the job platforms that you can sign up on. I think they do have a vetting process in place, which, you will have recruiters who will reach out to you, understand your profile, and then get you on the platform. So you can try enrolling on them as well. They, of course, don't guarantee you a job match, but they kind of make sure that you at least get matched with roles. So Talent.io, Honeypot, Toledo are some of the platforms that you can, start off with. Besides that, you definitely have your traditional job sites. You have LinkedIn, you have Indeed, you have, Berlin Startups, you have Zing. I would say that, make the most of at least understanding what the market is like. And if you just, do a basic Google search on what are the different job sites here in Germany, you will get a fair idea. So, don't always leave out what's out there. Do some research on it. And like I said, keep building on that targeted list. Please do not constantly apply to companies that you don't see yourself. The end goal of getting a job is not, just joining and quitting, but it's also being there for a long time while you are happy. Great. So I'm going to give you quick 5 tips. I'm not really sure if all of you guys know, but before your profile actually reaches a recruiter, it basically goes through an ATS system. The ATS system is basically called an applicant tracking system. So every time, and how do you realize that, if your resume is going through the system? So when you're applying on the website, for example, you would see the URL on top from the company website switching to something else. And that means that you're actually applying to a system which a recruiter basically then takes off your resume from. So some examples or some names would be, Greenhouse, Bamboo HR, Lever, JobWhite. There are multiple out there, but every time you apply and you see that switch, you know that, you're actually not applying. You are applying directly to the company, but through a tool. So to make sure that you are actually parsing that tool, you need to keep certain ground rules in mind. So make sure that your fonts are consistent. Make sure that your name is the only thing that's there in the header. Make sure that you don't have anything fancy. So, avoid making very graphical resumes like but don't have charts, don't have graphs, don't have tables, because it doesn't read that through properly. It just passes through your profile exactly like that, and you have to try and be a match to it. Have simple bullet points, have equal spacing. So formatting here is extremely important. Anything that you see looks a little weird, make sure that you are actually doing that accurately. So and you also need to be an 80% match to the job role, which means that everything that's there on the job description needs to be mirrored into your profile. And we talk about how you can decode the job description. But what I would advise you to also use is a tool called cvscan.uk, which basically allows you to put the job description and your resume and tells you whether how close of a match you are to that role. My advice to you would be that you should at least be an 80% match. And the whole goal here is to tailor your resume to every profile that you're applying to. So you it might seem daunting at this point of time that do you have to do this for each role? Yes, you need to do it for each role if you actually want to get past that machine and actually get interested by a recruiter to reach out to you. One of the other ways also to kind of stand out from the crowd is by taking it a step ahead. When I tell you taking it a step ahead is that, moving away from just writing your job responsibilities. So this is the work experience section where you would ideally say that you're just doing a job role, but try and make sure that you're quantifying it and taking it a step ahead. So I have put a formula here, and I've also given you examples of how you can write that. The end goal is to be, more achievement driven than responsibility driven. So it's a simple formula. You need to always start with an action verb, then talk about the duty and what was the outcome of that. It may not be possible for you to always quantify it, so that is okay. But if you can quantify it, and if that has given a quantifiable result to another team that you're working with, like the second example talks about that, that is okay too. So just make sure that you're putting that somewhere. When you're applying for technical roles, always make sure that you're highlighting your technical skills and write exactly what you're really good at and what are the technologies that you're really good at, what are the frameworks that you've worked on, because that is pretty much what we scan through when we look at a technical resume. Make sure that you have your projects and spikes. That's what we call that at Imagine. So make sure that you talk about projects that are always relevant to the role. If you think that there is a role that you're applying for and the project does not make sense, you can completely leave that out. Only put it in, put in projects that kind of make sense. What is appreciated a lot more here in Germany are open source projects. So if you have open source projects, make sure that you kind of put that on your GitHub profile or your Stack Overflow profile, because that's also where recruiters can look out for you. But do call them out, because we really appreciate it over here. So I'm going to very briefly talk to you about how you can decode a job description, because I've seen this to be a little bit of a problem. Don't apply for companies or roles that don't state at any point that they provide relocation. So if you're looking at a job description, this might not be the best example, but there are companies at some point that would have a different benefit section on their website, and if they do provide job relocation, you do know that that company is open to something like that. So always try and look for their benefits, which actually states that they provide job relocation. Try and mirror the language. When I say mirror the language, use the same terminologies that they have used. And if you do use CV scan, you would know that the mirroring of the language is extremely important for you to, one, pass through, and two is for the recruiter to also understand that you've understood what is expected out of you. I would say that only apply to roles that you are an 80% fit. So besides obviously being a keyword match, but on an experience or a skill set level, again, it's extremely important that you're an 80% match. So what I mean is that, like you can see, the bonus points are the good to have skills. So, or, some job description has it as is plus or preferred. But bonus points means that, if you have it, great. If you don't have those skills, then it's okay too. But the must-have skills, you have to be a match to that. So don't read a job description and think that you have two of these, must-have skills and you are a fit. No, you are not a fit. And the market honestly will find somebody else, like a company will be able to find somebody else who has those skills. So you need to be a match on the must-have skills. Similarly, when you're reading a job description, read the job description line by line and ask yourself these three questions. That, do you have experience? If it's a yes, then what are the stacks that you use while you did do a certain task? And what was the outcome? Again, going back to the same formula, what was the task, and what was the action taken, and what was the result? So it's important. And the art of tailoring is that you read the job description as a question paper. So what you will do is pretty much the question paper, and the answer needs to be in your resume under a particular job role. So that's how you need to tailor it. Use the formula through and through, and and it gets easier. So what I would advise you to do is have one master resume where you have all your achievements, all your accomplishments together. And as you keep moving on to applying the job roles, make sure that you just pull it out from that master resume and put it in the new resume and then apply it to the company that you're looking to apply to. I'm going to now move on to LinkedIn. So basically, what I would advise individuals to do, and I see that very often, is that people write open to opportunities or actively seeking opportunities. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that LinkedIn is a marketing tool. So how you present yourself is how people perceive you. And sometimes when you do write a statement like that, you may seem desperate and you wouldn't probably want to look that way. So there's a better way to do that, and that is to basically get into your privacy settings and make sure that you indicate to recruiters that you're open to new opportunities. So hiring managers can see it. Anyone who's using Sales Navigator or anyone who's using the recruitment tool is informed that you're looking for opportunities, and you will show up on their search if your profile is optimized. So we talk about how you can optimize your profile, but make sure that you don't add that in your headline, and I will tell you what you need to add there. But at the same time, look out for jobs on LinkedIn and set job alerts. So as you click on the setting which says open to new opportunities, it also asks you that what kind of roles are you looking for, and how often do you need these alerts. The second part is how do you optimize your profile? So let's start with your headline. Your headline does not have to be your generic designation, but it gives you 160 characters. So what I would say is that maybe just put a dash and add skills that help you stand out, which means that when a recruiter is actually looking out for someone with certain skills, and that's the first thing that they will see. So of course, besides making sure that your picture is extremely professional, that's the second thing that they will definitely see. So I would say that add different skill sets or certifications that you stand out from, and make sure that your picture is professional. Please do not have pictures which are taken from your past holiday, because honestly, anyone can tell the difference between a professional picture and a cropped picture. Moving on to your about me section, that is the section where you can add some personality. So make sure that you talk a little bit about why you like software engineering, what has been your accomplishment, and that could be like 2 or 3 main accomplishments, and have a specialty section and a call to action. Now, a specialty section is basically your top skills that you are really good at, and that way you're optimizing your section. And also, call to action means you can tell them that you are reachable on your email addresses. So or they can just email you. So make sure that you close that end to end and don't keep that way. Your resume is basically created to tailor your profile to roles, while LinkedIn can be a lot more broader. Then you move on to the work experience section. I would say that you can put everything, like for example, from your master resume into your LinkedIn profile, which you ideally wouldn't be able to put on your tailored resumes. So use that as much as you can. Always talk about the stacks that you've used. in each job role, so that people know how recent you are in using those stacks or using those frameworks. While you're applying for jobs on LinkedIn, if you see any skills that are missing, there are some job roles that does have like a skills section, and you see if anything's missing. Of course, I would say that only if you do have experience, do make sure that you come back and add that in your skills and endorsements section. So always make sure that you're on top of the game by knowing what's really missing. So the skills and endorsement section is as important because that helps you match with job roles, which also gives an indicator for recruiters to know what % match you are when you're applying from a LinkedIn role. The other thing is that recommendations, rule of thumb, make sure that you have at least 2 or 3 recommendations. This could be from peers, managers, and guide them. Tell them exactly what are the projects that you would want them to talk about, what are the skills that you would want to talk to them about, because at least the first 3 recommendations hold a lot of value because that's what we would read. So make sure that you do add that. Also have time in writing the languages, which is it could be or not be German, but just talk about what are the languages that you speak in any projects, any volunteering projects that you've spoken, that you've done before, any groups that interest you. We can see that when we look at your profile, so that's important too. And always be active on LinkedIn. So when I say active, I would say microdose on LinkedIn. So it could be as simple as spending some time every day where you send 3 meaningful requests. You send you comment on 3 meaningful posts about and leave thoughtful comments so that you stay on top of mind of people. And this could be of recruiters and hiring managers. And at the same time, reach when you are reaching out to people. Send personalized messages. Don't tell them that, hey, if you're reaching out to a recruiter, please don't tell them, hey, please find me a job, because that's not their job to find you a job. But their job is to make sure that, they match you with roles within their company. So either you can always apply to a particular role and then get back to them and tell them that, I applied to this role. Could you just have a look? I haven't heard back. Something on those lines is something that you always need to be relevant when you're having a conversation. So you can do that with hiring managers, with recruiters. The other way to stay on top of mind is that be engaging on their posts. So if you're following a company, you can engage with people who post as well as recruiters, and leave some thoughtful comments. Over a period of time, if you have a list of targeted companies ready, you can also reach out to people with the same designation as yours in your targeted companies and conduct informational interviews. Informational interviews are interviews that you have a conversation with them about themselves and get to know their journey, and always keep building people in your network. So tomorrow, if they do have a job role, they can reach out to you and have a recommendation. You could be that recommendation. So and last but not the least is that LinkedIn allows you to keep your profile more appealing. So make sure that if you do have any YouTube video, any presentation, anything that you're really proud about, which is in a media format, just add that as well. Interviewing tips. So I would say that at every point, just make sure that you do understand what kind of an interview you're going for. If you're going for, a behavioral interview, or you're going for a technical interview, and your recruiter will definitely be able to tell you that. But before you do go for each of these interviews, what I would advise you to do is research well about the company. Which I mean to say is that make sure that you understand everything about the company, like what are their pain areas, why are they actually hiring you, and how is it that you are a fit to the company. So there are different ways that you can do your research. Obviously, the company website would be a great place to start. But you can sign, if they are a company that has newsletters, you can sign up with that, check out Glassdoor, check out their different posts on social media to understand the culture. And if that's the culture that you resonate with, look for blogs. They could be company-driven blogs. They could be leadership blogs. They could be people who are hiring managers would write, personal blogs about what they like to do, what's their journey been like, etc. So that's probably a good way for you to start, so that when you do meet them, you have some context. like I said, understand the pain points and weave in your experience. So each of these interviews needs to be a building block to your final interview. What you understand from your first interview needs to be taken to your second, to the third, to the fourth, to your final round. So always reflect after you get done with your interview. Reflect on what you've learned, and always tailor your answers accordingly, because each interview will give you an insight of what the company is looking for and how you can add value there. Always keep your answers relevant to the role. Make sure that you're only talking about what they want to hear and not your entire work history. So something that you did 15 years back is not relevant anymore, so please don't talk about that. Make sure that you're keeping things that are extremely relevant. I would say practice with a career coach, practice with someone who does, who knows you well. It could be a friend, but who can give you honest feedback. Because the thing is that it's extremely important. You pretty much just get one shot sometimes in certain companies. So I would say just make the most of it, practice, and you'll see that you're not too nervous, you're not fumbling, you're not ranting away as well. At the end of it, I would say always mirror an interviewer as well. So with what I mean is that if you meet someone who's extremely excited, you can be that person as well and try repeating their last three words so that they know that you're listening to them. These are just some tactics of mirroring people. But if you meet someone who's extremely calm and low on energy and just calm in general, I would say don't be hyper. Just be at that same tone. Always be yourself. Okay, do not lie at any point of time. It's completely okay if you don't know anything, but you still actually portray that you're willing to learn. So just be yourself and smile throughout the interview, no matter how nervous you are at the end of the day. Stay on top of the mind. What I mean is that there are very few people who actually even say thank you after an interview. So I would please encourage that. We appreciate it as recruiters. If we don't respond to you, immediately, it creates a good impact. So once you get done, I would advise you to always send a thank you note. At any point, if you think that there was a problem that was discussed, this is a good way to kind of weave that in again, saying that I did think about something, and this is the answer to that, and this would be a good idea. It's not deal breaking of sorts, but it's just to show that you are still thinking, and if your solution makes sense, they can probably reconsider you. If I would say continue to follow up, so try 3 or 5 working days, business working days. If they do reject you, ask for feedback. Please don't hold it against companies if they don't give you feedback, because a lot of companies can do it and some cannot. So it is okay again, if they don't get back to you. If you do get feedback, you're lucky enough. And like I said, your recruiter and your interviewer is your new connect. So go back on LinkedIn while you send them a thank you note. If you've not already connected with them, send them a request. And, that could also be that one can be on an email. The second could just be on LinkedIn, saying that I was happy reaching out to you. I appreciate your time. And I'm hoping to, be connected on this platform. So just make sure that, you actually also connect with them otherwise. And last is a bonus tip, which is make sure, and you would know it better, that everything is on social media, right? So sharpen your digital footprint and network with people as much as you can. These are not must-haves. These are just something that you can do to stand out, to build a better portfolio. So if you can create a website, like for example, if you're a front-end developer, I would say maybe create a website that could speak of your skills. If you are someone who writes really well and has an opinion, you can blog and publish articles. They can be done on LinkedIn and Medium, and the more you do it, the better it is to just be on top of mind. There are times that recruiters would just look out for people, and if they come across your article, which is extremely interesting, I would say that they will reach out to you. Stay active on social media of targeted companies. Easier way to understand this is that suppose if you had a company and there's someone who was very active on your social media, at some point this person will always stay on top of your mind. So just make sure that you're active and leave thoughtful comments. Only if you have something nice to say which makes sense, you can put those details there. and do that as much. You share their articles if you're sharing their articles, talk about what your takeaway is, and then share those articles so that they also know what you feel about it, and they appreciate the fact that you're sharing their articles. Keep your GitHub and your Stack Overflow profile updated at all times. The last is just an idea. Considering at this point of time, all of us are home and most of the events happen offline. If you can join meetup groups that are based in Germany, be a part of these offline events. So a lot of these events are now happening online. So I would say that, I meant to say online events. So, just try and be a part of those events and, network with people, meet interesting people, talk to them about your journey, talk to them, understand what their journey is like. You never know, you might just make a friend or you might just make a professional acquaintance with someone who, probably has a goal in mind for you. I just have a quick giveaway for everybody here. There are probably a lot of questions around LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to make sure that you do get found by recruiters and hiring managers. I've created a checklist which literally takes you, step by step. What are the different ways that you need to optimize your profile, and have you done that? There was a question about, what do recruiters actually put to find, to basically how will you get found by recruiters, is making sure that your profile is optimized. So all the keywords need to be there, keywords that could be your skills or, certain jargons that are used in your industry needs to be there on your profile to be found. So this checklist is just going to help you get better at that. These are some of the places that you can find me. I'm super active on LinkedIn. People who already have connected with me know that well enough. I try my best to give out tips to people who are looking out for opportunities, not in Germany especially, but just regularly, even remote workers, even people back in India or around the globe. So you can find me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Facebook as well as on Instagram. That's my website. My first name, last name, that's www.fareenshaikh.com. Once you do go on my website, you will get an understanding of what I do. I basically help individuals with their resume reviews, with their LinkedIn profiles, as well as interviewing skills. To know if we can work together, I have a 15-minute discovery call where I try and understand what are the challenges that you're facing and how I can help you. It's more as a fitment round for you and me. You necessarily don't need to work with me, or I can also choose to not work with you if I'm unable to help you. So this discovery call is a 15-minute call, which is absolutely free. And I'm also sharing a discount code because I know that it's difficult times for everybody. So there's a 25% discount code, which is called Coaching 25. You can use that after we do decide to kind of work together. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and go back to Nanda.
Great, Fareen. Thank you very much. I think you brought very important information and advice about how to prepare ATS-proof CV. That's how we call the CVs that can survive to ATS screening. Also about how to engage on LinkedIn and how to call the recruiter's attention online. I really appreciate all the tips you gave us. You mainly focused on job applications in Germany and in the IT field, because this is what we do at Imagine. We focus on this target group. But I also believe that the tips you gave today, they can apply to other fields as well. Other professionals can use the same tips for making a better CV, for being active on LinkedIn, for preparing for interviews and so on. So thank you very much for that. We have two questions. Let me check. Well, one question came from Ihan. He asks if there are actually opportunities in Germany. I think you mentioned some platforms, some very famous platforms where people can find job opportunities in Germany, right? Xing, LinkedIn.
Yes. So, to be honest, I am very well connected
Sure.
with the recruiter team here in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
There are companies still that are hiring, but you would feel like it's slower than before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
True.
the reason being that companies are still trying to figure out. A lot of things have changed. We all have started working from home. Some companies are working lesser hours than before. There are a lot of changes that have happened in job roles in Germany. So besides, one way is of course having your target list in place, doing your own research, and constantly following those companies. The second would be then applying through different platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
talent.io is one. There's Honeypot, the other one, and Toledo.com is the third one. So if
Mm-hmm.
you keep digging in further, you will find different platforms. But these three cater to software developers or people who are DevOps or technical roles is what they are actually looking to kind of match you with. So yeah, you can start off there, but I would say that there's networking as well. Another way that you can reach out to people with the same titles in different companies, and just build relationships. And so when they do have a job opening in their company, you can they can probably recommend you for a particular job. So that's another way to also find a job here.
From your experience coaching people, coaching job seekers, can you see any pattern? Can you see specific industries that are hiring more than others right now?
I would say product companies are hiring more because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more to do on that front. So I think product companies would be a good place to start off, if not, certain industries that you want to look at. But it's again a very difficult time, right? Because everyone's still trying to figure out how they would want to move ahead. I would say just keep an eye open. And also, I think these platforms like your regular job sites will also give you insight on companies that are hiring. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if you look at the Berlin Startup Jobs website, literally has different roles that are open and the kind of roles. It's very intuitive. So even if you're not aiming for a particular industry, you definitely will get some roles that kind of match in with your skill set.
Yeah, I think at the same time that COVID brings us some challenges, it also brings us some opportunities. I believe that in the healthy industry, digital marketing,
Yeah.
e-learning industry, I think in those industries we will see probably more job offers
Yeah.
coming up in the next months, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is it came from Dr. Rick. He asks if ATS have kind of automatic rejection emails because lately he has applied for some jobs and he immediately gets a rejection email. It's a tricky question, hard to explain, right? But
Yeah.
what do you think? What would you comment about that, Fareen?
So honestly, an ATS system, the whole purpose of having an ATS system in place is to help the HR team get more structured. So there is a possibility that if you're a close match, that a recruiter will still look at your profile. But the fact that you get rejected emails is because that's what which is rather not rejected, but not so personalized emails, is because the system is sending it out to you, but it will still go through a human. So unless you're not a fit at all, you will probably just be a 20% match. Then I'm sure you're not going to go through a recruiter. So that's why it's extremely important. The closer that you are to the job description from a skill match or from a responsibility match, the higher the chances, or closer the chances are for you to reach a recruiter. But the thing is that it does not always mean that it's automated, so it's the system. And no one's really looking at it. It's two ways that way. If you're not a fit at all, yes, you might just get it. Sometimes it's a recruiter just hitting, reject email button, and then you get that automated email. So it depends, actually.
Okay, great.
I think, yeah, Fernanda, even if you have any opinions around it, I think, you could
No,
proceed.
I agree with you. I have been working very closely to some job seekers, and sometimes people believe that quantity is better than quality. They believe that the more they apply for jobs, the better they will have more chances. But actually, the truth is that quality is better in this case. So it's better if you apply only once per week, but you really make sure that you have at least, as you said, 80% match. Then you apply for 10 or 15 companies in a week. So I believe that the key point here is exactly the skills matching. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have nothing to add. Okay, we started receiving new questions.
Sure.
Awesome, thank you guys. Continue to send our questions. Dr. Rick again, he asks how many pages CV should have.
Okay, so this is actually fairly simple and something that you can take away with you moving on as well. So, if you're an individual with less than 5 years of experience, I would say that have a one pager. If you're someone with 5 to 15 years of experience, have a two pager. If you're someone with above 15 years of experience, futuristically, I would say have a two pager with 10 years of relevant experience. So the end goal here is to always keep your profile relevant. It should be easy on the eyes, and hence the length matters. But more importantly, it's the quality. So all the tricks and all the formulas that I gave you, if you apply that, it needs to be catchy enough. It needs to be quantifiable. The more numbers that you use, the more a recruiter is going to actually, spend some time in looking into your profile. It is true that we spend, maybe first 6 seconds on just understanding if you're a fit, and then move on to like reading a little more. So your length matters to an extent, but I would say 2 pages at the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Normally, this is what we recommend to most of the students at Imagining, 2 pages maximum. Okay, now we have two questions that they are closely related. So I would like to ask you those questions together. People are asking in the chat how COVID should affect the recruiting market, the job market in Germany. And also they want to know if we should expect more remote jobs coming up. So I think both questions are related, right? What do you
Yeah,
think?
it's actually a very interesting question, and I may not be able to answer it with like 100% surety because the market is evolving. And to be honest, it's because we don't know what's coming. I think it would be unfair for me to tell you that everything is going to go remote. And I have been a remote worker to tell you 100% that this is not remote work. Usually people work remotely mostly by choice. Like when I decided to work remotely, it was something that I decided to do, and I did that because I was getting the right, work-life balance. Today, the kind of remote work that everyone's doing is more forced. Um, though it has a lot of benefits for companies where you're paying less money on spaces, etc. A lot of companies require you to be together in an office, while some companies have figured out that they can work remotely, so they might go remote. But there are a lot of companies who don't think that they will go remote. So there's a 50-50 chance, to be honest, that there are companies that will be going remote in the future and some won't at all. But yes, there might be a chance that you would see more remote positions. But honestly, the remote working market existed long before COVID. So there, you would, and also because I work for a remote working platform, I can tell you that it's a huge, huge market. And if you were ever looking out for opportunities, and if you know that you want to be a remote worker, only then apply, because it's a completely different ballgame. If you're someone who's okay to not have people around, because isolation is the truth, it does slip in. So I would say that just be 100% sure if you want to do it. What really motivates you? Do you not need your manager around, etc.? So yeah, I would say 50-50 right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's too early to predict anything. But as you said, some companies are trying or experimenting, working remotely, and maybe they could find out that this is a good solution for them. Also, the same for employees. Maybe you have never tried working remotely before, and now you are forced to do that, and maybe you find out that this is a good thing for you.
Yeah.
So let's see what will happen. But I can share with you guys an experience of one of our students at Imagine. He got a job during this crisis, and the company decided to start the work contract with him while he is leaving his home country. Due to the the problems with the immigration office. The immigration office is not really giving you work permissions. Traveling is also more complicated now, so the company decided to work remotely with this person. So yeah, maybe you should prepare yourself to this kind of work if you believe that this is a good thing for you. This is a good choice for you. Um, okay, let's see if you have any other questions. Uh, we have one last question, which is, what is the cool-off time for most tech companies in Germany?
I would say 6 months. Mostly it's about 6 months to a year, but I think, building a relationship with a recruiter here is extremely important to actually be able to identify that, because that varies from companies to companies. So if you feel that, you've been rejected and you're asking for feedback, they don't respond, you can always ask them what's the cooling period. The reason that they would keep 6 months or a year is because they're also giving you a time as an individual to, upskill certain skills that you might lack. So use this time very wisely. But again, I can't speak for all the companies here in Germany, but it's the best. The best way to do it is to ask a recruiter. Then you can get that.
Okay, and I think you mentioned something very, very important, which is once you get a feedback, try to take time to work on those points. If it's a lack of technical knowledge or technical experience, try to acquire, try to develop such experience, such knowledge. Try to develop yourself as much as you can, because then you will not only increase your chances to be hired in the future, but also you learn more, you develop as a professional, as a person. So yeah, this is super, super important. Okay, we do not have more questions. Actually, we have some good feedbacks. People saying that the webinar was very helpful.
Yay.
Great. Fareen, do you have any last comment you would like to make, or any advice you would like to give people who are looking for a new job, a new opportunity right now?
Sure. Honestly, I would like what I started off with. I would say that be strategic and reach out to people for help. Honestly, do network with people. You'll be amazed how many of them will actually respond to you. I would also say that I think Imagine Foundation, and not again because that's where I mentor, but I feel very strongly about what they do. So I would advise you that if you do need help and assistance, to check them out. It's a good place for you to start. And at the same time, we're always available. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active. Fernanda also is available to just get on a conversation at any point. We will do our best. But what I would say is, at the end of it, also always be ethical. So, do not lie on your resume, do not lie on your LinkedIn profile, and, do not lie in your interviews. Because you might get the job for whatever reasons, but, that's not going to get you too far. So that's always been my advice, to always be ethical in no matter what you do. So, yeah, I'd like to end with that.
Great, great advice. Thank you very much, Fareen. I would like to thank all of you who joined us today. As I said before, this video has been recorded, so you can come back to this page and watch the video again. Feel free also to share this video with your friends. If you know someone who is applying for a new job, who is looking for new opportunities, feel free to share this video with them. Again, if you want to check Fareen's page on the internet, her website, the link will be here in the description of this video. If you want to check more about how Imagine works, what it can offer you, and you want to apply for our bootcamp, it's free of charge. It's for any software developers applying for jobs outside. So check the link in the description also. And yeah, thank you very much. I only have to thank you for this opportunity to be with you. I hope you have enjoyed all the conversation, all the tips we gave you today.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Nanda.
Thank you. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye, Fareen. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.